Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to do grammar MCQs, comprehension, and then synthesis and transformation. So some of you might have done your work already, right? The worksheet has been posted, and you would have seen it. But it'd be good for you to post your answers again, try, because you may not remember everything, right? So let's try the grammar MCQs first, shall we? So, question for everyone. Okay, number one. What is the answer to this? I will return you the money, what I borrowed from you, as soon as possible. Thanks, Tommy, Yashika, and Ian. Yes, Yashika, we have time. We will do some calculations later on. Some more phrasal verbs for you to learn. Thanks, Taven. So 3 persons. And Tommy, yeah, Tommy, Ian. One, two, three, 4, 5. Yancy, thank you. And Keith, thank you. So all of you are correct. That is the correct answer, which is B, which is used for things, right? Things, animals or inanimate objects. I'll return you the money which I borrowed from you as soon as possible. Okay. Of course, animals, sometimes if you want it to be personal, you want to give the animal some kind of personality, you can use gender as well and refer to he or she, depending on whether it's male or female, right? For the animal. Except for maybe things like an amoeba is also a living thing, but there is no gender to it, right? So we still refer to amoeba as an it. You know, amoebas, right? How they reproduce, they split into two, right? So there's no need for female or male members. Right, so number two, what's number two? So number one is which, what's number two? The gentleman, what my father introduced to me earlier. Okay, so some of, oh, you have actually posted already. Yes, Taven, Tommy, Jared, Yashika, and Zifang. Any more? There are 13 of you. Oh, Chen Yan. I got to admit Chen Yan. Sorry. Chen Yan will be coming in and joining us. Hello, Chen Yan. Are you here yet, Chen Yan? Chen Yan? Okay, let me just add you to the attendance. Right. So there should be many of you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, 13 of you, correct. Okay, the answer here is C, the gentleman whom my father introduced. By right, it should be C, whom. Okay, I think maybe it would be better to write down whom, although many people do use who nowadays, the gentleman whom my father introduced to me earlier, right? This is what we call a disputed usage, right? So usually things that are disputed maybe is one step before, or a couple of steps before being accepted, right? As grammatically correct. So it's disputed, better to stick to C, whom, right? Now, when do you use who and when do you use whom? Can anybody explain? Anyone? When do you use who and when do you use whom? Why is the gentleman whom and not who? Okay, the gentleman here is an object. No, not exactly, Yashika, but gentleman is an object. Why? Because my father is the subject. And so my father introduced the gentleman, right? My father introduced the gentleman. So the first named noun in the sentence, right? Usually, that is the subject. That is the main actor of the sentence. Whereas the gentleman is related to the verb. He is being acted on by my father. My father is the one who introduced. My father is the active noun. All right. So we introduced the gentleman. The gentleman is not moving, is passive. Right? The gentleman is passive. My father is the active noun there. So the active subject. So whenever this noun is an object, then you use the relative pronoun whom with an M. Okay. If you say my father who introduced the gentleman. My father who introduced the gentleman. Okay. Was being polite or was happy. So something like that, right? So my father who introduced, not whom. It's the gentleman whom, because it's an object. Anybody has any questions about that? Are we okay? So it's like, for example, John met a new friend. Okay, so you can say John, who is my classmate, okay, John met a new friend. So now if you put the new friend, met a new friend, if you put a new friend in front, okay, a new friend whom I knew. Okay. Now this one, I knew, that's I is a subject. Okay. But met a new friend whom I knew. Okay. Whom I knew. But if you say John met a new friend who was my neighbor, can you see the difference? John met a new friend whom I knew. John met a new friend who was my neighbor. Okay. John, who is my classmate, John, whom I whom I made friends with last week, or whom I met last week, or whom I made friends with last week. Okay, met a new friend. Right? So can you see I is a subject, made friends with John. I made friends with John, so John here then becomes whom. But a new friend who was my neighbor, my new friend is a subject. Yeah, was my new friend was my neighbor. So you can say that new friend was my neighbor, and therefore you use who. But I knew this new friend, then the I is a subject. Then the new friend is an object. Okay? Right? Any questions? So it's a matter of whether the relative pronoun, in the relative pronoun, the relative phrase that comes with the whom or the who, there is a subject there, right? Okay, next one, number 3. What's the next answer for number 3? Your sister has bought another mobile phone. Thanks, Yashika. Thanks, Tommy. Any more? Your sister has bought another mobile phone. Has she? Hasn't she? Did she? Didn't she? Singaporeans tend to use what? Your sister has bought another mobile phone, is it? That's wrong. This is Singlish. Singlish, we just use is it whenever we want to tag the question, right? Wow, you bought or you've eaten lunch, is it? You know, oh wow, yesterday you visited our classmate, is it? Right? So there's Singlish. But here it should be hasn't she. Your sister has bought another mobile phone, so you must use a has in the tag, right? In this question. And you have to use the opposite. So if it is positive, your sister has bought, then it's got to be negative in the tag, hasn't she? If it is a negative, your sister hasn't bought another mobile phone, has she? Then it will be has she. Okay, so hasn't goes with has she, and has goes with hasn't she. Right? Questions? No. Number 4, you're not thirsty again. So here it is a are, and it's a negative. So what should the tag involve? That's for number 4. So yes, thank you, Tommy, Yashika, Taven, Ian, Galen. Very good. 5 of you. What happened to the others? The other, how many are? The other 13. The other 8. 5 and 8. Okay, so it is not B because this is you are not. You aren't thirsty again. So it should be A. Okay, this is out, this is out. So it's either this or this. But since this is negative, so you cannot be this. Okay, so it's got to be the opposite, positive. You're not thirsty again, are you? All right. Any questions about this? No? Then the last one, number 5. She's really good in English. She is, right? She is. Let's see if everybody gets this correct now. Yashika, Tommy, Yancy, thank you. Zifang, thank you. And Galen and Ian, yes, good. Any more coming in? Record, there, yes, 7. We've passed it now. We've hit a record for today, 7. But it's still 8 of you, right? Any more? So far so good. All the answers have been correct. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and yes, it is, isn't she? Because it's is and it's positive, right? And you've got to use